We are live again right here. It is Friday, and I have a special treat for you. I am inviting Kristie Miller in. Kristie is one of my. You joined. Now you have to request to be in. Go live. I'm going to put you there. Let's see if you accept it. All right, let's talk about what does it take to make a change? What is it like when you are in a funk? What is it like when you feel like you cannot make the change and you have to start in the mind first? What is it like when you get over the hump? This is all something that Kristie and I are going to talk about today because she did some amazing work in 12 weeks. And while we know this is a full-on journey that becomes a lifestyle, she's going to share what made her successful over these last, there we go, 12 weeks. Except you're coming on, I think, looks like it's loading. I know Instagram is a little buggy sometimes, but you should be able. Oh, it says you're unable to join. I wonder why. That's weird. Okay. There we go. Here's the request. Perfect. Go live. I know it's one of those things where, there we go.
Ah, yay. Am I in?
Yeah, you are
Yay.
in. We are together. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi.
Oh, we have another male bodybuilding hottie at the
Ooh,
bottom
yeah.
saying hello.
Yeah. We're single. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh. That's the other thing that comes with accomplishing your fitness goals. Massive confidence. But what I want to talk about today, I want to give you the floor because when we had our end of program sort of chat, I was blown away. I didn't record any of it and I feel stupid and I'm like, oh my God, like you had so many good bombs that you dropped that I'm like, I want you to share where were you before you made the decision to link arms together and join a program and go through basically a life change at this point because you've made some incredible changes that I noticed that along the way. It's always hard as the person, like, do you see it? Do you feel it? And then 12 weeks later, you look back and you see those comparison pictures and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I changed physically, but there's so much that you said that mentally changed you that I'm like, you know what? We have to talk about this. It's so relatable. Share like where you were mentally before and we were kind of like insta friends and got to know
Right.
each other.
We connected right away. Um, well, as many women and girls out there, there's a lot of pressure on us to look good, but I feel like if you're mentally, if your mindset is not good, it doesn't matter what you look like, but I was both. My mindset sucked. I mean, it's like I guess I way I would say it is you have to quit your stinking thinking. That's like my favorite thing. Somebody said that to me once and I'm like, oh yeah, but I never really applied it. Now I actually know what they mean. So it's just in a funk, sluggish, everything was tight or not fitting my clothes. And, I'm only partially the way to my goal, but I still feel like I look so much better already. And people are complimenting me, and not that I'm doing it so I can get, compliments, but it's nice because it's like confirmation that what you're doing is working. And, but it's also not just the looks, the way I look. I think my attitude and my mental state and my mindset is so much better that people can feel that. People can feel your energy. I can feel other people's energy. I'm pretty intuitive, not psychic, but intuitive. And I can feel like a good energy or someone who has like an air of confidence, not conceit, but confidence. So yeah, I was in a funk and now I think I'm out of it. Not that I don't still some days have to really work on being out of it. It's not easy, but you know what? Nothing worth having is really easy,
That's
you know?
an amazing point, and I'm so glad we addressed the mindset first because I feel like that sets the stage for you to be receptive to any strategy that you need to use or any training plan that's out there. And so when I was thinking about like what do I believe in, and I was kind of building like business pillars, mindset was always at the bottom, and like I shared with you earlier, like there are many moments this year with my mindset, and I'm doing this bodybuilding thing to an elite level, and it's just it gets harder and harder the higher you climb. And there were times where like I let other people's opinions or other
Right,
people's actions get in my
right.
head. And I'm like, wait a minute,
Like, who are you?
they're not going to be like they don't have to show off on stage, or they don't have to pay my bills, or that, like, why do I care what they
Right.
think? And so when you let that infiltrate, is there any like specific thing that happened that you were able to like let go of? Not like situation, but maybe like daily things that would normally sideline you and sidetrack you from your goal, whether it's going out or
Oh,
opinions
so
that
many
people have.
things. Always, I let everything sidetrack me before starting this program. I let everything, I mean, I used every excuse. Oh, well, tonight I have to go out, or tomorrow it's so and so's birthday, or and what I've learned is just because you're going out doesn't mean you have to order crappy food. It doesn't mean you have to drink the high caloric sugar drink. I've definitely cut down on my alcohol intake. Not that I was a huge drinker, but you know what, if you're gonna have that drink, like, just keep it to a minimum and don't order the sugary stuff, and sip. I try to drink water in between and just sip it. You don't have to slam it back. When you're
Yeah.
in your 20s, that's what you do, but as an adult, drinking's supposed to be a social thing. So, and just everything. I always made excuses. My whole being was just one big excuse, and it didn't happen overnight, but as I started seeing the progress from the before and after pictures, my first photo was devastating. It was devastating. My
Everyone
first
says that.
photo, I said I looked like I swallowed a ginormous watermelon. Like, it was devastating. And you don't really realize until what I did was I did a video and did the complete turn, and then I would snap the video to get the exact poses because it was just easier. And I saw that video and I'm like, oh my God, that's what I look like. Because I was in denial, which is not a river in Egypt, by the way. That's one thing I learned. I was in denial. It's called crossing the river of denial. So once I saw that, I was like, okay, I really have to, work on this. And you have to start with the mindset that it's not going to be a 1 week, 2 week, 1 month thing. It's a journey. And that was my problem in the past. I'm always like, I'd be 1 week or 2 weeks in, and if I cheated, or if I had what I call cheating, which, if I had ate something that wasn't on the plan, I was like, oh, screw it. I can't do this. It's too hard. I'm already fat anyway. What's it matter? Blah, blah, blah. Just the excuses. Where now it's like, okay, you had a little something bad. No big deal. You start right over. It doesn't have to be a cheat day or a cheat week. It can just be a cheat meal or a cheat item, and I'm not saying to go and cheat on your diet, I don't even call it a diet, your new way of eating. But once in a while, you're going to have something that's not 100% on the plan. Don't beat yourself up. That's the biggest thing I had to do, was stop beating myself up for every mishap. And also, I didn't talk about it too much with people. And I'll tell you why, because it's the moment they see you doing something, they're like, is that on the plan? Was that what you're supposed to be doing? And it's like, don't police me. Like,
Mm.
this is a journey. This is not an overnight thing. And I've done every fad diet in the world. I promise you. I've done Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem. I've done everything. And like, you know what? The biggest thing that helped me was like having you to motivate me, be there for me, as a role model. And I understand role models are not perfect. You also have to accept that and understand that we're all human, but just also changing the mindset. For me, it's the thinking is the number one, or nothing else is going to fall in place. So I had to envision also. You have to, and I'm still envisioning because I'm not 100% at my goal, but I'm envisioning me going out wearing this hot dress that I have, by the way, that I cannot wait to wear, but I'm like not at my goal yet to wear it. It's still kind of like on the cusp where I need to get in a little bit better shape because it's a little bit skimpy. It's for a club. It's not for like going to Publix. And and so that's my goal. I envision me looking and like going out in that dress and people going, wow, she must work out, or like, wow, she takes care of herself. That's what I have, that vision. Not like, oh, I hope I can do this. I have that vision, like it's going to happen. I have that vision. So that's, I think, the first step is the mindset, and envisioning yourself doing it, actually doing it, believing it.
Yeah.
So
What do you think was like a catalyst that got you to just switch to belief versus excuses or anything you told yourself in the past? Like, when did you really start believing I can do this and I
right.
will?
I'll tell you the biggest thing. I talked about the before picture, which was, like I said, just mind blowing and devastating. And then, like, I take a picture every week. I'd send it to you. But it was like week 4 or so, I think I sent, or 5, somewhere around there, maybe 6. I would put the first picture next to like that week.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like I have a waist. Like my waist, instead of being this, was like going like this. It was like, you know. And so then I took measurements and I'm like, oh my God, I've lost 3 inches off my waist. But the scale only moved a few pounds. So that's the whole thing. When people get on the scale, they get upset. It upsets me. I hate the scale. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of do need it as a tool, but not as your Bible, you know, as a, you know, because I realize that the inches come off first and the scale lags behind. So you can't be like, oh, this isn't working, forget it. And that's what I used to do. But the progress pictures, because the scale didn't really change much, but my photos, and I was showing people the photos, and my friends were like, oh my God, you look so bloated when you first started. Like, you know, they're brutally honest, but they were like, oh my God, you look so much better. And then things start fitting, of course. And I'm like, how can these things be fitting? The scale hasn't changed much, but it's because I'm doing a lot of resistance training, which is something that I do want you to address, is that people are so hung up on cardio, which cardio is important for your heart,
Yeah.
but people are so dead set on, if you want to lose weight, you got to hit the treadmill. And I see them in the gym busting their ass for an hour. One lady she brought her own fan for the Stairmaster and she hooked it on and she was going at it for an hour. Okay. And she
Wow.
was not in good shape, no offense, but thank God, you know, good for her being at the gym and doing something. And I'm not ragging on her, but every day I see her there busting, and I'm thinking, lady, like my gym is 2 levels, the weights are upstairs. I'm like thinking, I wish I knew her, because I'd be like, you know what, you might want to just cut that down to 20 minutes and get your ass up there and start resistance training, because that's where the inches start. So that's what
I feel like there's a lot of miseducation around that. I
mm-hmm.
feel like it is a longer play. So to build muscle, it's not going to happen in 4 days, right? But
Right.
maybe you have one great cardio workout and you sweat a ton,
Yes,
and you
it's
think that
water.
sweating is indicative of fat loss,
Right.
when really, I used to teach a lot of group fitness in my early 20s, a lot of, from body pump to spinning to
Yeah.
Pilates to kickboxing to step aerobics, all of these things. And I would go out on Friday nights with the other instructor people, right? We were supposed to be the example, and there was a Pizzeria Uno right around the corner. So it was the deep dish pizza. At that time, I loved
Chicago
Blue
pizza.
Martinis and Cosmos,
Yeah.
and the deep dish cookie sundae. And I'm like, no amount of cardio. I don't care if I taught 3 classes a
You'd
day.
have to
There's
run
no
2
amount of cardio that I
Boston
can do.
marathons.
I know. And the funny part is I actually have a client that I see in person. He's my massage client, but he did a nutrition coaching bout with me. And he was a marathon runner. And he said something one day. He goes, you know, like, I really think the nutrition matters. And I'm like thinking to myself like this, because I already know this, but I'm like, yeah, why do you say that? Oh, well, you know, even when I ran a marathon, you know, I wasn't really ever toned because he didn't watch what he ate.
Right.
And even though you're fueling for a specific type of activity, like a marathon is a very specific thing that you need to be fueled for,
Mm-hmm.
you just can't overdo it with the fat and the carbs. You definitely need protein for muscle, which is the reason why when you weight train and you get shape and tone, it's not like the 90s supermodel that walks on the runway and they're just skinny fat and their skin's
I call
skinny,
it heroin
but
chic.
like, yeah, exactly.
Not that they do heroin, but it looks like it because they're just so skinny. It's like, yeah, no muscle. Heroin chic. That was
And
in.
that's the
It's
thing. I
not in
feel like
anymore,
people are
girls.
afraid of muscle. That, because we grew up in kind of the same era, right? So
Yeah.
like through the 90s, for example, like seeing all of that as a teenager and young adult, that became what was normal. And I don't even know what they used to say in the 70s and 60s about, you know, the scale and bread and butter and all these things that were bad one time and now good. But I feel like when that, because this is another thing that I faced this year, especially being very different as a bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't work with a lot of bodybuilders, so I like to keep it normalized when I'm coaching. But myself looking bigger, I found that I lost sight of what the American perception of what a woman is, which is frail and skinny and weak. And I'm like, I'm the total opposite. Why does anybody want to be frail, skinny, and weak? And I love it when you gave the feedback. You want to look like you work out.
Yeah, I don't want
to shape and tone.
And the misconception from so many people of, oh, if you lift weights, you're going to get bulky. No. That's, if you're training to be a bodybuilder, it's a totally different regimen, and people don't understand that. But lifting heavy, if you're a woman, you're not going to get huge and bulky, you know. And that's one thing, the misconception. Oh, light weights, many reputations. I call BS on that. I say your reps, you should be failing. That's how I feel. You should be failing on your last rep, and just pushing yourself to do as many as you can until you fail. And then or what have you. But the light weights, to me, I call BS on light weights. That's it.
Sure.
If you're in the beginning, like I noticed I was weak, so I wasn't lifting heavy. I'm not saying to go to where you're lifting heavy and you hurt yourself or you throw your back out. Not like that. I'm just saying it shouldn't be the light weights, tons of reps. I don't believe in that. I believe in building muscle, because when you have muscle, it uses the fat for energy. And I don't care what the scale weighs. If you have muscle, you look thinner, you look shapelier, you look fit. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of lifting and heavy resistance for women, for everybody. And especially at me, I'm 52. I've noticed that I'm so much weaker than when I was younger, and things are like stupid things like opening a jar. And so, I think as we get older, we need more resistance training. I do believe cardio is important. I just don't think it's as important as people emphasize. They make it all about cardio. And I just think cardio is important, but I think the number one thing should be weightlifting. And it's crazy. It gets addicting. It's like, and then you just feel so good after. And then after about 12 weeks is when you really start seeing a real difference. And you're like, oh, wow. Like I look, you look younger too. For women out there that are older, women that have muscle tone look younger. They look younger. So there's a lot of skinny fat people out there. They're skinny. They do a ton of cardio, but they're like not tight.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of the resistance training now, since I started this program with you.
I'm
I
so
believe
glad
in
to
it.
hear that, because I'm over the top with lifting. Like I love to take it to the next level, but
Yeah.
I love hearing people that don't have the same goal as me
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the same craft, but at an appropriate level. So heavy is relative to the person.
Right.
When you feel weak, maybe
Right.
15 pounds is
Right.
heavy,
Yeah.
but is it the heaviest in the world? No.
Right.
But can you grow with it? Of course, as you get stronger,
Mm-hmm.
the 15 gets lighter, then you go to the 20, and that's the essence of the journey. So when we look at people who jump from plan to plan in terms of like, they want to go to Zumba one day and they want to go to body pump, and they don't really have progression, as opposed to, I'm going to enjoy the process of this training program, and I'm going to really be excellent at these lifts or these exercise
Mm-hmm.
combinations or the execution. It becomes its own, like, how do I say it? Its own exciting journey, because you're growing with it, as opposed to what I hear some people say is, "Oh, well, I don't want to get
Hi,
bored."
Katie.
Like, how can you
Sorry, my
get
friend Katie just joined. I'm
bored?
like, hi, Katie.
Good.
She actually lost 80 pounds. She's amazingly beautiful, this girl, I swear. And she did it by starting doing running and stuff, but that was her kickstart. And portion control. I don't want to plug any diets out there, but the one diet, it's not Weight Watchers, I will say that, but she was really good at portion control and measuring, you know.
Let
So,
You know what? Let's go in that route real quick, because I've been thinking so much this year, because I'm always trying to give clients more skills that they can learn what I do, but not have to be so strict, but also have discipline. And tracking seems to be hit or miss for some people. Some people hate it. They never want to track. They feel like it's a prison. And then some people find that it's great for awareness. Great to be like, whoa, I ate all of that. So then it's like, okay, if you don't want to see it on paper, then don't eat it, because you have to write it down if you're eating it.
mhm.
How was tracking for you in terms of having a plan? Because we were pretty flexible.
Right.
Like your plan was flexible in the sense that we knew that you were going to go places. You knew you had a social life and a relationship. So,
I'm
you
a
know,
terrible tracker and you know it. But I do sometimes use like a app. It's kind of like, it's called Lose It. It's kind of like a MyFitnessPal. And
yeah,
then you had your app. So I did track for a little bit because it made me aware of what I was eating and the portions. And then once I kind of know the portions just by eyeballing them, I kind of stopped tracking. But I still made progress because now I understand portion
yeah.
sizes. So, but I do recommend tracking, because I think you'll have better progress than I did, faster, if you track. But I'm just the worst tracker. But I do know that people that I know that have lost weight and just got fit, they were really strict. I have one friend that he lost a ton of weight, and he literally tracked if he ate an M&M, he tracked it. If he ate a beer, I mean, drank a beer, he tracked it. So he was really diligent for 1 year, and he superseded his goals. But so I know tracking works. I'm just a horrible tracker, but I know
That's
it's.
how I started when I was like in my early 20s and even in my teen years. Like I was experimenting with tracking.
Mhm.
And before doing like formal education, let's just say, I was doing it by trial by fire, like saying, okay, I want to learn how to use my fitness pal. I want to learn. I was literally, before my fitness pal came out, before iPhones, I would write it down on paper and I would Google it. Well, whatever search engine we had back in the late 90s, right? I would
Yeah.
search caloric values. And at that time, you know, I wasn't as whole food oriented as I am now, because I was like, well, I'm a teenager. I'm just going to figure this out by what's on the box. So if I ate a granola bar, I'd write everything down.
Yeah.
If I ate, you know, something from a can or a Weight Watchers
Whatever you
frozen
ate.
dinner or something like that. And so I looked at that as like, that was my first learning lesson that I put myself through. And then now doing it to a much higher level 20 years later, it the thing that I feel like not being a good tracker now that keeps you still progressing is that you're focusing on quality foods rather than, you know, those multiple options of things that have so
Mhm.
many ingredients and you don't really know what it is. Like if I went out and I just got a nacho platter, how do you even
No,
quantify
because
that?
there's so many different things. How do you even know the fat, the caloric? Not to say that once, well, maybe not for you right now because you're training for a competition, but the average normal person that's not training for a bodybuilding competition, how do you know what's in it? It's so much easier to order like more simple. The less ingredients, the better. That's because it's easier to,
For sure.
yeah.
And even so, like I was watching an Instagram reel the other day where somebody was talking about carrot cake, and he just sort of like nibbled on carrot cake all day long. And it wasn't me, ironically, and because I love carrot cake. But he was talking about how he put it in my fitness pal, and like one entry said the cake was 2,500 calories, the other one said it was
Yeah.
4,300 calories.
How do you know
But
which is
you
true?
don't
And
know,
then you
and you
go with
don't
the lesser one
because you
to
want
make yourself feel
a
better, but
choice.
really it's the higher one.
Yeah, so tracking has its like positives and negatives,
Right.
but I feel like the way I started before I was
Hmm.
formally educated, I started with multiple ingredient foods like protein bars and
Yeah.
stuff that I could just scan in or look at the
Yeah.
label. But I would tell clients sometimes, I'd be like, you know, if you're following the plan and just doing swaps of whole foods, you don't really have to stress about tracking. But if you want to go a more macros based approach and you want to try to make things fit, I used to do that. I used to get my little healthy ice cream and measure it on a food scale and
Hmm.
have exactly the grams that were on the nutrition facts. And then when I started really getting a nerdy, like kind of in the weeds about this, when you realize that food nutrition facts labels can be up to like 20% inaccurate by law, like it's like allowed.
Yeah. They give
And then things can
a
be
leeway.
labeled low fat or no fat, but really it's not,
Hmm.
because it might say zero fat, but then if you have too much of it, it builds up and there's fat.
Yeah.
But whoever has the whole serving size of something, the one culprit used to be one of those like spray butters. Do you ever see those spray
Oh,
butters?
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
abuse the thing because I'm like, okay, I'm not having one spray. I'm having like 16
Right.
sprays. That's totally different.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like you can read the fat and the calories and stuff and something, but you also have to read the serving size.
Yeah, for
It's like, oh, this only
sure.
has 3 grams of fat, but if you're having 4 servings, let's do the math, you know?
I think that's where
So
tracking becomes
I
strong.
noticed too that when I don't skip my workouts and I really stay on track with the working out, my eating just falls in line naturally because I also start feeling like I don't want to eat crap because I just worked out today and I don't want it to be all for nothing. So everything just kind of changes, and everyday habit creates change. If you just go to the gym, even if you had a bad night the night before and you ate some chips or whatever it is that you ate, just still go to the gym the next day. Don't be like, ugh, I ate bad, so whatever. Just keep going to the gym. And it's just kind of all works itself out. It all falls in line. But I tell you, the biggest thing for me was changing my mindset. And the eating and everything kind of is falling in line. I still eat here and there bad meals, but it used to be 20% healthy, 80% bad. Now I think I've flip-flopped that. So maybe for me, it's going to be a little slower. Maybe it's going to take me a year to get to my goal, but I don't care because I'm not miserable.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know? And again, if I were training for a bodybuilding contest, it would be totally different. You have to
Total
buckle
hell.
down, you have to be strict. But what people don't realize is they see you and they think like, oh, I don't want to look like that. They don't understand. She's building muscle and she's training. You're training for a competition. That's your job. It's like you're not going to be all jacked just because you lift weights and this and that. That's not what you help people do, unless they're a bodybuilder, maybe a fellow bodybuilder, and they want your help for a competition. That's a different story. They're going to have a different regimen than what you gave me. And that's what I want people to realize. Like, they see you and they see you're all jacked and you're all like, you know, you lift heavy weights and they go, oh my God, I can't do that. You know, that's not what it's about. That's your goal. That's your career. You can still help other people get into shape. So my goal is just for people and to notice, and for me to fit in my clothes well, to wear that that dress that I have that I'm going to show you in private one day. It's so cute. Oh my God. But yeah. And I'll, of course, when I do finally wear it, I'll post pictures for sure. I'll do the before and after picture. But yeah, so just because someone is a bodybuilder and they want to help you, it doesn't mean that, like you, not someone you, doesn't mean that you're trying to make them look like you.
Right.
And I think people are like, oh, you know, women are so against weightlifting. And, you know, I'm all about changing the mindset, you know, lifting heavier. If I skip a body part, because sometimes I get tired and I'm like, oh, okay, I've been here so long. Oh, but I didn't do back. Then I make it I have to start my next workout with that body part I skipped. That's my thing. That's just my thing.
You don't like to track, but you are organized.
I like to track and I don't like to read, but the one thing is for sure, it will bother me. I will literally think about it like, oh my God, I didn't do back. You know, I'll be like thinking about it. So the next workout, I start it with back, even if that's not the right order to do your muscle parts.
Yeah.
I don't care. I start whatever muscle group I missed. I start my next workout with that after my warm up and stuff, of course, because then I feel better. I'm like, okay, I did it, you know?
I think
so it's just
the flexibility people don't realize that they can have. I actually was talking to Stacy, another client last night, because I told her, I was like, there's two different kinds of people. There's someone like me who, for the most part, I stick to a schedule. Monday's this, Tuesday's this, and without fail. But then, like this past weekend, I went away to my parents. I had to move things around, and I'm okay with it because I'm not going to get that neurotic. And then there's people that their lives are just a cluster because it's so dynamic. They travel, they need to be able to have workouts that they can plug in. Well, today I don't have much time, but this 20-minute workout is better than nothing. But on Friday, I have an hour. I want to do this 40-minute workout.
Yeah.
And knowing like you can be flexible.
Yeah, like if
pick
I
up
have
what you missed before.
Right. If I have the short day, like I only have 30 minutes today and I miss something, then on Friday, I'm like, okay, I have an hour and a half Friday. I'm going to start my workout with what I missed. It just makes me feel better. It works for me. Not everybody has to do the same thing. You have to find what works for you. Yeah. But the other thing people don't realize, they think they have to go on this major crash diet. They have to start busting their ass in the gym. All that's great. But if you change little things, like we discussed the other day in private, I changed little things. Like I started my day now with protein instead of cereal, oatmeal. Not that that stuff's bad, because there are some healthy versions of that stuff out there, but I start my day with protein. And if I can't cook something because I'm like, oh my God, I have to go to the gym and then I have to be here, I'll just, I'll make a protein shake. And I just always start with protein. And I do believe in cardio, but I just, I do cardio, like I'd say like 3 times a week, but I just don't like, I'm not doing anaerobic. Right. I'm doing like the fat burning cardio. And then the other thing that your app helped me with is I always forget to take my vitamins. And so that was like a reminder. Every day now I take my vitamins, because again, your app helped me start it. Now I don't even, have to look at the app and I know I got to take my vitamins, like, because everyday habit creates change. If you do something every day for long enough, you're just going to start automatically just doing it, And so I take my vitamins, vitamin D, especially because I have fibromyalgia, which I read that vitamin D helps with that. We'll see. But I take in my omegas and stuff, my daily women stuff, whatever. And then, but that's something I wasn't doing before. I was winging it. That's what I was doing. And when you wing it, you don't see the progress because you're all over the map. And so, but the changing of the little things, like taking the vitamins, I always drink a lot of water. So for me, that was easy. That's the easy part, because I really only like 3 types of beverage, and it's water, vodka, and coffee. So I'm not going to drink vodka all day long, obviously. So I could live without any other beverage in the world. So I drink a lot of water, always have. So that was easy for me, but it's changing little things. The vitamins, starting the day with protein, taking the before and after pictures each week. And so you can see your progress, because that motivated me. I didn't know I had any progress. I didn't think or feel that I had any progress until I saw the photo. And then I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, let me measure my waist. And again, like I said earlier, 3 inches were off my waist. I was like, holy crap, So you don't think it's working because it's slow, but what will you look like a year from now if you start today? What will you look like 6 months from now if you start today? What would you look like now if you had started 6 months ago? So it's all about, people want a quick fix. I think with everything, people want like instant gratification.
Yeah.
I want instant gratification, but you know what? Suck it up, because that's not how it is, especially with fitness. It's supposed to be a lifetime thing. You're not supposed to just, that's the other thing I had to get in my head. It's not, I'm going to get into shape because I want to look good for this. Yeah, I want to look good for my dress, but I also want to look good for the occasions after that. So small steps, baby steps, and then you get to the end. What do they say? It's not a marathon. It's it's not a sprint. It's
The marathon.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's funny, I've been thinking a lot about my habits when I was younger, and I would do that. So let's just say in college, I'd have this countdown to spring break, and I'd have to get in shape for spring break. And I'd look at the countdown and I'd be like delaying. Oh, I still have 7 weeks. I still have 6 weeks. Oh, I can do it in 5 weeks. Next thing you know, the spring break is tomorrow, and I'm going to wear a
Like, what are you
bathing
going to
suit that I
starve
don't
yourself?
want to wear because I made it as like, this is my, now it's not bad to have a goal. But like, think about the people that get in shape for their wedding, and then after they get married, it just all goes downhill.
Yep. Listen, I'm one of those people, not so much for my wedding, but I'm one of those people, as I would have in my mind, like, oh, I have this event, and I would get into really good shape for it. And then I get to the event, and I get all these fabulous pictures and post them and blah, blah, blah. And then I would let it slide and gain 15, 20 pounds back. Like, what's that? Like, then for the next event, I'd be like busting my ass again. Like, I don't want to live my life that way. I just want to be like, and then I just want to be normal. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just lose weight for an event and then gain it back, and then just lose weight for this event and then gain it back. I want to just always be in shape. So that's my goal. It's just that's just the way I live. I want that just to be how I am. I don't think I'll ever stop working out again, because I'm just completely hooked, addicted. I always joke, and I'm bashing cardio a little bit, but I'm not bashing it. I do think it's important, but I do think weightlifting is a smidge more important and very important. And if you're not doing it, you have to add it into your workout. I'm not saying you have to give up the cardio, but maybe scale it back and bring the weightlifting up a little, because I know cardio is important, but I love, I'm like one of the rare people. I love the Stairmaster, the actual Stairmaster that you climb without leaning and hanging on like a monkey. And when I first started doing it, I sucked. I did 10 minutes. I sucked at it. And now I'm on there for like 40 minutes, and not so much because I'm like, oh, Miss Cardio Junkie, but more I'm like addicted. I have this thing, like, I'm happiest when I'm on the Stairmaster. I don't know why. I just feel, for me, the Stairmaster is the best cardio, because there is nothing harder than running upstairs. I mean, I don't care. I know people who, they run like on a flat, like land, they run outside, or they bike, they do the Peloton, and then you get on that Stairmaster, or you just try to run upstairs that are anywhere, like in a building or whatever, and you're like, because it's a different type of cardio. But my favorite part about it really, really works on the booty and the back of the legs. So that's where I like, because my biggest fear is like, oh my God, I'm going to lose weight and my butt's going to drop. It's bad enough my face is dropping. I don't want my butt to drop with it. So
Before I started doing the Stairmaster, I was like, I was like a spin person, and I got the worst feedback from someone who didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, "Oh, you're going to develop haunches on a bike," like meaning like big legs. I'm like, are you kidding me? But then ever since the Stairmaster, like I got to a point where like one year I was like, wow, we could bounce a quarter off my butt. I'm going to say it's the Stairmaster.
Yeah.
I did that.
You know what got me on the Stairmaster is I used to work with this girl who had the best figure. She was just so fit, and she had this bubble butt, and she just looked so good. And I was like, what are you doing? She goes, I do the Stairmaster a lot. She lifted and stuff like that, but she's like, my cardio is the Stairmaster. She said, if you can do 86 plus floors, not steps, floors, she goes, then you can go up the Empire State Building. And because the
I'm
Empire
gonna
State
use that for
Building,
my motivation
yeah,
that later
I'm up
today
to
do
like
the Stairmaster.
112 floors. And honestly, I know it's a little different when you're actually in New York, going up in the altitude. It's a little bit harder in all actuality in the real
Yeah.
life, but it's my thing. I'm like, I have to do the Empire State Building today, you know? So she told me that, and I'm like, I want to do that. Like, she motivated me to do that. That's how I got onto the Stairmaster. I'm not bashing other cardios. I think if you're moving, God bless. Thank God you're moving, you know? But for me, I love the Stairmaster, and I love what it's doing to my butt.
And you know what, too? Like for those people who might have like knee issues or tendonitis or
Yeah,
cartilage issues, there's this one, I hate the elliptical. My feet always fall
I
asleep, but
no.
there's like the arc trainer that you could set the incline up and you ultimately glide
Yeah.
as high as almost like a step would be on the
Mm-hmm.
Stairmaster, but instead of stepping, because like some people like their knees can't handle it, you can glide and really drive through the glutes, and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel that as well when I crank
Yeah.
up the resistance and crank up the incline
Yeah.
on that one. And the other thing that I love now, it's part laziness and part really effective.
I know.
I say lazy because I get to a certain point, I'm like, I can't handle the Stairmaster today, even though it's my
Right.
first club. I will crank that treadmill up to
Well,
15 degrees
that's not lazy.
and then, but I'm only walking at like somewhere between 2 and 3 miles
No,
an hour.
that's the thing I was going to say about the Stairmaster. You don't have to be running up the stairs at level 7, 8, 9, 10. I keep it on 2 and 3, and I hold the handles, and I use my Apple Watch, and my heart rate's up there. It's like 140 to 150. Like, you don't need to
Right.
be running up the stairs. You could just do it at a slow pace. And I'm telling you, it's amazing. And same with the walking. Like, people think they have to get on the treadmill and run like they're running the New York Marathon. Like, you don't. Like, you can just up the resistance and just, you're moving. That's what matters. You're moving. So I agree. I mean, so I wasn't totally bashing cardio. I was just wanting people to incorporate resistance training as well. Because I really think as you get older and you lose muscle tone and you get weak and atrophy, I saw some guy on TikTok saying, when you're 65 or older and you fall, and there's a very good chance you're going to fall eventually. I fall all the time. I'm so clumsy. You can, if you don't have muscle strength and you're not flexible, and we can talk about stretching after, that's something I never did until you're gonna hurt yourself or most likely break a hip or whatever, and then it's all downhill from there, you know? So and the stretching's so important, and people don't think it is, and they leave the gym without stretching, and they work out without stretching. And I never was a stretcher. I mean, I was a stretcher when I was young because I was a gymnast, but as an adult working out, you know, I didn't care about flexibility or anything until you go to reach for something in your kitchen at my age, and I'm not even that old, and like you feel like you pulled something. So I'm like, okay, I have to start stretching. So you got me on the stretching and the roller. Love that thing. I ordered one on Amazon. So I don't know if you want to talk about what it is, but I'm sold. I'm hooked, and I stretch all the time now. And I feel so much better after my workout when I stretch. I always warm up like 5 minutes before I weight train, 10 minutes
Yeah.
on some kind of cardio, usually the sit down bike, because I am lazy, you know, the sit down bike. I don't know what it's called. The recumbent,
Where you sit
yeah.
back.
I'm
I
like,
love
I can
that
sit
thing.
and exercise. This is awesome. No, but I do that. It's my warm up, like 5-10 minutes, and then I start weight training, and then I stretch. Whether I do cardio or whatever, that day I stretch, and I never stretched before. And I'm telling you, you just feel so much better.
Well, that's
So people are like, oh,
part
stretching
of
doesn't
like
burn calories.
preparation and recovery because, and so part of what I do also, I've been a massage therapist since like 2003, whatever it was. I was 23 years old, and knowing that I went for that because I wanted to complete my whole experience, like with everything that I did medically as an athletic trainer and then as a speed coach. But I had the opportunity. My first clients were some of the Philadelphia Eagles. It was crazy. So like,
And I
like,
love them.
if you take care of the tissue, this client is going to be able to perform as a Pro Bowler, as a Super Bowl winner, like for many years. So one of my clients, I got him right after he joined the Eagles, and then I left for Indiana in 2011. So I was with him for 8 years. interestingly enough, he moved to Indianapolis, but I didn't because he got picked up by the Colts, and I didn't work with him then because my schedule was crazy. But for pretty much a 10-year career, taking care of the tissue health is one of the things that kept, keep a lot of these guys playing in addition to other,
Mm-hmm.
some of the other guys that I used to work with, they would have like hyperbaric chambers in their dining rooms and like all of these things to keep them healthy. But when we look at us, we're not getting that level of impact every Sunday, or we're not lifting weights the way they are, or being a speed athlete, but we do have tissue like demands. When we do that cardio, it's stressful. When we do weight training, that's stressful. That if you don't take care of the tissue, you talked about this, the roller, that is basically like, you could call like a poor man's massage therapist, and it's a traveling one. You could get the little one, you could get the
I have the little one.
and you can do it every single day. I would do it as like obviously maintenance between, because sometimes you just need a body worker to get in there with an elbow.
Yeah.
But you could do that every single day. It'll warm up the tissues. It'll soften the fascia. The fascial restrictions are usually what people have as an issue, not just the tight muscles. Sometimes it's like the fascia is really stuck and restricted, dehydrated tissue. So you didn't have a problem with that with respect to water intake. But there's so much that's going on, previous injuries, adhesions, scar tissue, that all of that roller and I have, it's so funny, if I turn it around you can see like every tool over there is like some sort of like, body
I lay on
self-care
it while I'm
tool.
watching TV. I start rolling out my back and stuff, and my back will just pop. Oh, it feels so good. And I start rolling on it like when I'm watching TV at night.
That's gonna
I'm addicted. I ordered
keep
one on Amazon.
recovering for the next
Yeah,
session for
I
sure.
I do it at the gym too, but it's something I never did prior to meeting you either. And it's like a lifesaver, that thing.
Yeah.
Because you get tight. You get tight when you start lifting. You just feel tight, like you need to be stretched, or yeah, it's the poor man's massage. I'll take it. I don't
And it's a
care.
very
I'm
convenient
poor.
massage therapist too, because it travels well in a suitcase. And if you get the little one, and you could be doing it anywhere, it's on demand. But the thing that I think that's so important that you mentioned is the age that we're in now. Like anybody over 40, that if you haven't weight trained before, number one, it's not too late. But number two, you talked about structure, you talked about shape. It's more than just the look, although the look is divine. But when you look at the posture, support of bones and joints, bone density, all these other things that as we age, especially as women, it becomes really, really detrimental if somebody just does cardio, doesn't eat their protein. So like the two things that you mentioned, that when you said it, I was like, oh, my work here is
Yeah.
done. Protein and weight
Hmm.
training. And, over 40, over 50, I had somebody who was 62, I think I worked with a few years back. And it's amazing when you talk to people about their goals. Her win of that particular week was, you know what, guess what? I got up the steps with my laundry basket and I didn't have to hold on to the railing.
Hmm.
Taking the
Hmm.
And I'm like, you know what, for someone over 60 who is basically telling me I have better balance, I have better core control, and I'm strong because she was weightlifting. And we're talking about weightlifting in her basement, right? We're not talking about going to the gym
Yeah.
and going crazy. Just controlling your body weight, having a little external resistance. That was like a huge win. And it really put in perspective that like what our priorities are as we get older. Like at some point, bodybuilding is going to end for me, right? So it's not going to be about the look anymore. It's going to be about feeling good. It's going to be about,
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe I pick up tennis in my old age when I'm
Pickleball.
old and retired.
I love pickleball. It's fun.
Oh my
It is so
goodness.
much fun. It's not that easy. People think it's easy, like the easier version of tennis. It's not that easy.
Better be
But
careful. Everybody that I talk to gets hurt playing
I
pickleball.
did get hurt. I don't want to tell you how. I'll tell you in private, but I did get hurt, and I haven't played in like 9 months, but I'm going back.
Oh
But that's
my
good
God.
cardio. It's like that's exercising without, and you're having fun at the same time. So, but
For
yeah,
sure.
no, I mean, I agree. So I never stretched until I met you. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start stretching. And I remember your first video I watched of you with on the roller and stretching. I was like, oh God, this is like that's like 10 or 15 extra minutes in the gym that I just don't have. But I was like all annoyed because now I got to stretch.
Now you're addicted.
Oh, now I'm like, I can't even leave without stretching. And it's like, I feel so much better. I mean, even if it's a quick stretch, you got to do it, even if you do something. But yeah, I'm
I'm
addicted. I'm addicted to
so
stretching.
proud that you were open-minded to try it, because I will tell some people, I was like, look, some of this stuff is not sexy. Some of the mobility work, because you're not getting killed under a bar or you're not like dying on a Stairmaster. It seems like oh, it's not valuable. But now a little bit every day of the mobility, about the stretching, about the self-myofascial release, like it totally pays off in the end. So I'll have to, very few people give me trouble with it. I'm just sure they're probably thinking it. But when people admit it and they say that and they say like, you know what, I looked at it and I was like, what the hell is this? And then they get into it. I'm like, yep, it's not
Mm-hmm.
sexy, but
It's
it works.
important.
And it's
Yeah,
foundational.
it's not sexy. Who cares? I mean, honestly, half the people at the gym that think they look sexy don't anyway. So whatever.
I know it totally
Whatever.
breaks the mold.
Yeah, I just don't care what people think. I really don't. I'm at that point where that's where the confidence is coming in. You know, where I before was like, oh, I look bad. Oh, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, you know what? I'm here because I have a goal. And, you know, also it's my me time. And like I say, I always even tell my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm happiest when I'm on. Hi, Al. It's another jeweler friend of mine.
Yay!
Um, I know all the jewelers are joining in. Get to work on the bench. Stop watching me.
When I need a Rolex, I know where to go.
Or a diamond set. If you need a diamond set or a ring made, Al Aletto is definitely the best in town. But anyway, that's a shameless plug for you, Al, but it's the truth. No, but my happy place, I tell my boyfriend all the time, my happy place is when I'm on the Stairmaster. Most people, when I say that in front of people, they're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I am happiest when I'm on the Stairmaster. I love lifting weights though, don't get me wrong, but I am happiest when I'm on the Stairmaster. I don't know why. I put in all kinds of cornball music. I listen to Tupac. I listen to Biggie Smalls. I listen to even Chris Stapleton. My music list is all over the map. I listen to all kinds of crap. I listen to stuff that some like remixes, you know, like techno music, like from this one DJ in Ibiza. You know, it's like rave music, whatever. I listen to everything, and then I like get into these modes where I'm like Motley Crue. It depends on my mood that day, but I like could live on the Stairmaster. I know it's a sickness, but I'd rather have that sickness than, you know,
Than the alternative.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This was so enjoyable. And I hope that, you know, as people rewatch, you know, I never know what time is a good day to go live because I never know who's going to watch. But when it's posted and people get to rewatch, I hope they get a lot of value and they realize that it's sometimes challenging to make the decision to make a change. But when you do and you trust it, and so this has been like 3 months, right? 12 weeks. In the grand scheme of life, it's not a long amount of time, but it could be a very impactful amount of time to really set you in a direction. Right. To now you're addicted. So you're addicted to the good things, right, that'll really make you feel good. And I love the fact that you touched on confidence, because people throw around that word all the time, but what does that really mean? Like to me, it meant, and I think I told you this a while back, my whole thing was I left like a really toxic job situation and I said, F it, I got abs. I got abs, and most people can't do that. Just because I got abs, I can leave my job because this was harder than that. And so it put it in perspective that I already accomplished one of the hardest things that I thought I could ever do, and doubting for 20 years. I'm like, I can leave my job. I don't need this toxic crap. And like for me, that's how confidence really reared its head. Mm-hmm. But for you, it sounds like what you said earlier. You're just impervious to the crap that used to pull you down before, and you have the confidence to say, no, that's not me. That's not what I want. That's not what I do. That's not how we do it here.
Right. Exactly. And I'm going to post my before and after pictures eventually, but I really want my after pictures to be a little further along. But they do look better, right? They do look much better. I mean, they're definitely much better, but completely. I have a ways to go. But that's what I said. It's not an overnight thing. So,
and we're going to be staying in touch for sure. You're like my little sister now.
Oh yeah. And you know what? Anything worth having takes work. If it comes easy, then you don't appreciate it, except for money. I would really appreciate that if I had an inheritance or something. I promise I won't take it for granted.
I was laughing because people say like you manifest what you talk about, and I'm like, well, I've been talking about the $30 billion jackpot for years, but of course you have to buy your lottery tickets, and I refuse.
I know, right? So, no, but it's all good, and we're gonna keep in touch, and I mean, keep on keeping on.
Yes, I'm so proud of you. This is just incredible, and I'm so thankful that you shared your story because people will relate.
Thanks.
And it'll help someone today.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, have a great weekend.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.